Okay, so I expose Adrien a lot on my channel, but the New York special is really just making it so obvious that Adrien likes Marinette. Okay, it's not confirmed that he does, but the way that he stares at her, wants to spend time with her, and compliments her, there are really just so many signs in this special. So let's get into it. But before we do that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when I upload. Okay, let's go. Alright, let's begin when the class is on the airplane. And Adrien is very worried about disappointing Ladybug at this moment. And I want to point out that when he sees Marinette, he seems genuinely happy. Like, despite worrying about the love of his life, Marinette manages to just bring a smile to his face. Like, it's almost like he forgets about all his problems when he sees Marinette. And then this next scene, when Marinette goes to sit by him, he just like watches her with a smile. He's not distracted by anything else, and he's focused on her. Then of course when we see Marinette go to adjust the AC, Adrien places his hands on hers and even looks at her and is just very up close to her. And I don't know if Adrien means to be this close to her, but I wonder if him being close to her and touching her hands shows some sort of subconscious desire to be close to her that maybe he does not realize. Alright, next we have the scene where Marinette goes to the bathroom. And, she then goes to look out the window, and all of a sudden, Adrien just shows up, and what? Okay, but this is weird, because was Adrien, looking out for Marinette, or did Adrien, look behind him and see Marinette? Because right here, it looks like Adrien is, sleeping. And so, did he look behind him and then see that Marinette was there and his first instinct is to go talk to her? It's just so random. Adrien, what are you doing? Alright, let's talk about when Adrien and Marinette are actually looking out the window together. Adrien, he just compliments Marinette, a lot, and he just tells her how much he appreciates her. And then he just stares at her, and this look is not friendly, I swear. I don't look at my friends like that. I don't think Adrien would look at Alya like that. It's a weird look. And it seems like he doesn't give that look to just anybody. And then Adrien goes to hug Marinette, but can I say that it's more of a hold? He holds her in his arms because he just stays there for a while. And the thing that separates them is the plane getting attacked, and it splits them off from hugging. But if you look at before that moment, Adrien looks like he is not about to let go of Marinette. He is still holding on to her. Is he just gonna do this as long as he can? It seems more than a hug. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so let's talk about when the class is on the bus again. Nino is telling Adrien to open his eyes in reference to Marinette. But there's two places that Adrien looks. The first spot, he looks at Marinette, and then the second, he looks outside the window. But this look he gives afterwards does not look like he would be that affected by looking outside into the scenery, because it just doesn't make sense. The scenery outside is not that nice for him to give that special of a look. That's the look he gives Marinette. There's literally a sign of a donut. I don't think he cares that much about a donut sign, and I don't know. You can disagree with me on this one. I think it's a little weird for Adrien to look outside like that. I think that's more of a look he's giving to Marinette, but it's a little bit confusing because he looks at two places. So we're just trying to analyze this, Alright, so the class gets off the bus, right? And the thing I want to point out to you is that when Aeon looks around the room, she notices everyone is there except two of them. And think about this, guys. It's just Adrien and Marinette coming in together. I don't know if Adrien stayed behind to help Marinette, or Nino and Alya convinced Adrien to stay behind with Marinette. We don't really know, but I think it's so cool to see just them together, not with anybody else. Alright, so we all know the scene where Adrien catches Marinette, but look at his face when he catches her. He gives her the most loving look, and oh my gosh, I just don't think I could see Adrien looking that way at his friends. It's more of a Marinette look again, as I've been saying. And plus, think of how much Adrien has to look after Marinette to catch her like that. He has to really be paying attention to her and really want to protect her. Alright, so now when the class is trying to sneak out, Adrien and Marinette end up going into the same room, and Marinette accidentally places her hand on Adrien's stomach. And in the official Miraculous Ladybug YouTube channel, they have a video called Miraculous World Rooftop Party Script to Screen, and it says that Adrien and Marinette share an embarrassed look. Now, if Adrien did this with someone else like Alya, I feel like maybe he wouldn't be as embarrassed. But it's interesting that they put into the script that they share an embarrassed look. Because when you're with someone that you like, it's easy to feel awkward around them and embarrassed. And the next part about this scene I want to point out is that when Adrien and Marinette realize that they are in the room with Aeon and Jess, Adrien says, "We're so sorry." He does not say, "I am so sorry," but he makes sure to include Marinette in his response, as if he's thinking about them collectively. Okay, so the next scene is when Adrien and Marinette are going up to the rooftop. I want you to notice how Adrien follows Marinette this whole time. He doesn't even stop to talk to any of his friends, and he just focuses and follows Marinette's lead. Like, again, Marinette has his attention. So the scene where Adrien and Marinette hold hands after eating the hot dog, I thought there might have been a sign here, because it looks like Adrien is reaching out to grab Marinette's hand, and it looks like it's more of Adrien's effort than Marinette, like Adrien is reaching out to protect Marinette. But again, in that same YouTube video by the Miraculous Ladybug channel, in the script it says that they take each other's hands without thinking to maintain balance. So I don't really know if I can include this as a sign because the script says otherwise, but the animation kind of shows Adrien reaching out to Marinette's hand, so I'll let you be the judge of that one. So let's go to the point where Adrien and Marinette decide to dance in the sky together. Let's talk about when Jess starts playing the song and Adrien immediately recognizes the song. Maybe it's a popular song in the show, we don't really know, but Adrien immediately remembers it and connects it to the moment that him and Marinette shared together. So the time when he was dancing with Marinette, it must have been important to him. And he wants to dance with her because he brings it up. He's like, "Will you?" He is so quick to ask Marinette, seriously. And as you can tell when he's dancing with her, he enjoys it because he has his eyes closed and he's smiling. He's into it. He's not grossed out at all. He's enjoying this. This is not a friendly thing, let me tell you. Okay, we're going forward a lot. We're going to the scene where Adrien's father tells him that he has to go back. So I want you to notice how there's a scene where Nino calls out for Adrien to stay. He's like, "Stay." And he doesn't even look at Nino. He doesn't acknowledge any of his other friends, and he looks straight at Marinette. And then he says his famous line of, "I wouldn't mind being stuck here a little longer with a friend like you." What? Okay, what about your other friends? Why are you just singling out Marinette? I know this is a really sad moment, so he's probably not really even in the mood to talk, but he didn't even look at Nino. He's just straight up looks at Marinette, and it just, the way he says this, the tone in his voice is so gentle and kind, it just seems more than friendship. Even if Adrien is sad about his problem with Ladybug, he still manages to look at Marinette with loving eyes. Now we have Alya being best friend of the year again, coming in to help Marinette. And so Alya tells Marinette that, "Can't you just see that Adrien was waiting for you to ask him to stay?" So the fact that the creators put this line into the show, it can reveal Adrien's true feelings. He wants to be with Marinette, and he wants to spend time with her. And the fact that they have Alya saying this is so revealing, but it's more than just friendship because he singles her out, like I said. He's not "Oh, I want to stay with all of you." In my opinion, he's basically saying, "I wouldn't mind being stuck with you." Just, if you take out the friend part, it basically means that. Because the friend part in this case is basically irrelevant. Because as we can see through Adrien's actions, that Marinette is more than a friend. Compared to his other friends, she's at the top of his friends list at school. Do you get what I'm saying? So I love that the creators put this line into the show because I feel like it's really telling of how Adrien actually feels towards Marinette. Alright, so the last point is when the class is holding up the cuckoo Adrien sign and it basically means like hello or hi in French. Anyway, basically Adrien's initial reaction to seeing this is a smile, as you can see here. But then, after like looking at his phone, he gives this a loving and adoring look, which is usually the look that he gives Marinette. So this is just me theorizing. I wonder if Adrien was focusing on Marinette in the video footage and that's what made him react that way. Because that's a typical look Adrien gives Marinette. Okay, I'm on a time crunch, but I just wanted to shout out 3 channels that are really good. So there's Flxrlie, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, I wasn't really sure, Lk6 Channel, and TheCartoonHotspot. And they're all very underrated, and I would like you guys to go subscribe and check them out. Link will be in the description to their channels. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Makinzy Green. Thank you so much for drawing these lovely stills for me that I was able to use in my video. They are so beautiful. Anyway, I'm not doing fan art because that takes a really long time to put everything together. So, lazy out.